coverage on Brown. And
he's inbounds. He might go. 99 yards.
Flicker action. Tannehill taking a chance towards the end zone, and it is caught. A.J. Brown.
Tannehill will take it all the way. They won't catch him.
What is going on, Titans Nation? Titans Universe here. I'm going to give a little recap of the Saints and the Titans and talk about the Titans and Texans. So the Titans beat the Saints 23-20 in a real nail-biter. In a game where I felt the Titans really could have executed better. I felt like Mike Vrabel was really playing conservative in this game, going for the field goal on 4th and short, and really felt like we could have done better in execution. Like Jeremy McNichols dropped a touchdown. That's 4 points off the board. Like, it's just these things that the Titans need to clean up. But all around, the Titans get it done. They win. They advance to 8-2. Tied for first in the NFL. Now, if you only caught the highlights of this game or viewed box scores, then you would think Ryan Tannehill really didn't do anything in this game. But I actually think that's a little bit unfair. Now, I've been very skeptical of Ryan Tannehill, but in this game, I actually thought he played as best as he could. Given the way the offense is run and the adjustments they've had to make since Derrick Henry is gone, he actually made really good plays with the weapons he had. We have A.J. Brown. He's a little off, and hoping he gets well and gets back to being the A.J. Brown we all know and love. So I'm really hoping that he gets better. But now I want to talk about the wide receiver that had a really good breakout game for us, and when we really needed a playmaker to step up, Marcus Johnson. 5 catches for 100 yards and really made plays when we needed them to. Going into this, we really didn't know who was going to be that number 2 wide receiver, who was going to step up and make plays when Julio is not on the field. And Marcus Johnson really did do great. And I'm hoping moving forward that he does keep it up, because doing research on him, no team has really gave him a chance besides the Titans. This is like, what, his 6th start ever in his career? And 2 of those starts were with the Titans. He's been on the Titans for 2 years. Maybe we can get a really good 3rd wide receiver out of him. He definitely had more of an impact than Josh Reynolds. And as for the run game, D'Onta Foreman had 11 carries for 30 yards. He also had 2 catches for 48 yards. They're starting to give him the bulk of the carry, putting him as the starting running back, and I see why they would do that since he has a similar build to Derrick Henry. So they can kind of have that smash mouth type of running back where they can have like a running back that they can give a lot of carries, and they're winging him into it. Playing against his former team next week, so I'm hoping to see him have a good game, maybe. Adrian Peterson had 8 carries for 21 yards. Not a really too much in the production, but you know, hey, we lose Derrick Henry, we're not really going to get that big in the running game. We can just hope that we find a little sleeper at running back, and we hoping that D'Onta Foreman is that sleeper to fill in while Derrick Henry is out. Now as for the defense, they played really well Sunday. Jeffrey Simmons continues to just turn it on. He's looking like he's actually starting to click, like he's starting to break out, continually disrupting the quarterback. He had 2 sacks, he had a pass deflection, being great in the run game. Harold Landry had a sack. He's continuing to breathe down TJ Watt and Myles Garrett's neck for the leader in the NFL for most sacks. Myles Garrett has 13 sacks, TJ Watt has 12, and Harold Landry has 10 sacks. So he's 3 sacks away, and if he can keep it up, he might have a good chance of it. Daquan Jones had a sack, which sounds like Daquan Jones actually wearing the same number as Daquan Jones, so I'm a little confused on that one. But from my understanding, he had his first NFL career sack. Like, I don't know. You can tell me in the comments. I've been confused about this. Has it always been Daquan Jones, or was there a Daquan Jones on this team? Is this some kind of Mandela effect type of stuff? Because it's really confusing me. And Monte Rice actually had a good game as well, being great, solid at tackling, stopping the run, tackling players when he needed to, just really being a solid player. And maybe we have a decent starter at the position moving forward. I've always had my eyebrows raised for Monte Rice, and he didn't have a great game last week, but this week he's had a pretty solid game. As for the secondary, Christian Fulton, he played all right. Kevin Byard, he had a little bit of slip-ups, but overall he played all right. Janoris Jenkins played, I wouldn't really say good, but he wasn't really that terrible. The one that was really bad in this game was Chris Jackson, but he's not really a starting caliber cornerback to begin with. We're on our 4th string cornerback, so yeah, we're going to have problems. But what really got to me was that Saints touchdown, where all Chris Jackson had to do was just turn around, and it's an interception. It's a 3rd down and long. How are you getting beat deep? when you're prepared for the deep ball. That just makes no sense. But, you know, we're going to have to deal with this because we never really had any plans in quarterback. Like, Christian Fulton is really the only good quarterback we have. Janoris Jenkins is inconsistent. And Caleb Farley, like, we're hoping that he's going to be at least a good number 2, but he's injured. So, cornerback is our biggest need next season. But for now, like, I feel like we're going to be all right in defense. Like, even though I have my problems with some of the players on the secondary, our defensive line is just so good that really makes up for coverage in the secondary. Jeffrey Simmons is looking so good in the past few games, and Harold Landry has been good all year. Danico Autry has been one of the best free agent pickups we've had in a while. Hopefully Bud Dupree gets back because he's been a solid pickup as well. Like, this is probably one of the best defensive lines in the league. So I don't really worry about the secondary because I think we can consistently get pressure and the secondary can feed and get turnovers off of that. But man, if we actually had a lockdown secondary with this defensive line, that would be a Super Bowl caliber defense. And with a healthy offense, Derrick Henry back, Julio Jones back, Ryan Tannehill playing well because he can play in the play action, that's a Super Bowl caliber team, and I am not stretching it any way, shape, or form. But now let's preview this Texan and Titans game. This is not a team to be underestimating. It's a divisional rival, even though they have one win. We really shouldn't underestimate it. We've done that to the Jaguars in the past and actually got beat by them. That Week 16 in 2016 was really one of the worst games by the Titans, underestimating the Jaguars and then losing that game and not making it into the playoffs. Mariota breaks his fibula. So really, as a Titans fan, I've learned not to underestimate these bad teams. So looking forward, I feel like the Titans need to really pay attention and be ready for this game. Don't take this team lightly. Go out and punch them in the mouth. Quick, fast. Try to get this game over. Don't let off the gas and just absolutely dominate on all 3 phases. Now, the Texans have the 30th ranked defense, if I'm not mistaken. They have the 30th to 32 ranked defense. It's no lower than 30 or higher if that's how you want to see it. In this game, I really think we can have some real good success in the run game if we can get Deontay Foreman and Adrian Peterson and McNichols going. The Texans have allowed, before the Dolphins game, 7 straight 100-yard games. Their run defense is really not that good. They're actually better in pass than run, which their pass defense is probably middle of the pack, which I would say, because if you look at it, they don't really allow that many 300-yard passers. And that's probably because of the run game is just so good that the team don't really need to pass that much against them. But they do have a better pass defense on paper than run defense. So I feel like the key here is to run the ball, set up the play action. I feel like we can set up the play action with the running backs that we have, and Ryan Tannehill just do what he does best and take advantage of what's there in the play action game. I expect the offense to start off slow, get a little frustrated, and then start to build up and start to get better each quarter. This offense really needs a game to boost them up, to get their confidence and momentum up after Derrick Henry's absence. Now, I mentioned A.J. Brown. I'm not going to count him out. I feel like that he's still our number 1 playmaker, and I should expect him to have good games and make plays every week in my videos. So yeah, I expect A.J. Brown to have a big impact in this game. I also expect Marcus Johnson to be a good complement. Chester Rogers has been a solid, every now and again, wide receiver. Haven't really been a solid third wide receiver, but he's been there making plays when we need him to every now and again. We should see Nick Westbrook-Ikhine as a valuable red zone target as he's been. I think he's actually number 2 in receiving touchdowns. A.J. Brown has 3 and he has 2. So yeah, hopefully we can expect to see him in the red zone. He's been pretty solid. Jeff Swain has actually come out and looking like our number 1 tight end. He's actually been a security blanket for Ryan Tannehill. Anthony Firkser has just fell off the map. 1 catch last week for 16 yards. I don't even think he had a catch in the Rams game, so not really what we expected. Very underwhelming performance from Anthony Firkser, and a big step up from Jeff Swain. And Michael Pruitt actually being a solid number 2. So expect some good plays from Jeff Swain and Michael Pruitt, and hopefully Anthony Firkser fixes whatever's wrong with him. But I guess we probably overhyped him. I don't really know. Now, I think that this is a terrific matchup for the defense. The Texans are 9th ranked in sacks allowed, and this defensive line, You know it's been on the come up the last few weeks, and I feel like they're going to feast in this game. Jeffrey Simmons might have another 2-sack game. Harold Landry might have 2 sacks. Hopefully this defensive line eats, and this secondary can cause turnovers. The Texans have allowed a lot of turnovers on their offense this year as well. This Titans defense is great in getting turnovers. I just like the matchup on this defense versus the Texans offense. I feel like if the Texans score a lot of points in this game, it's going to just be one of them weird NFL weeks where the Texans upset the Titans and just don't really understand what's going on and just wanting to punch a freaking wall because we lost to another team that sucks. And it took so long to get over that Jets game, and now Okay, I don't even want to talk about that. Let's move on. The Texans' run game hasn't really been good either. The best quality is the passing game, which hasn't been really solid. They're in the 30s in both offense and defense, but hey, that's why they only have 1 win. I think they're 27th in most points allowed as well, and the Titans are in the top half of most points scored in a game. So if the Texans upset the Titans this week, we riot, because I'm not liking the NFL this season. The NFL this season really is scary when it comes to bad teams. How the Jaguars beat the Bills, that just make no sense at all. The NFL this season is scary. It's the season of the bad teams. The only bad team that seemed to catch a break is Detroit Lions, which they tied, and I bet you they were celebrating in that locker room over that tie. Except for Josh Reynolds, because, he went from 6-2 to 0-8-1, so, backfired on him there. Should have stuck with the good team. Dang, I've really gotten off track. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, my final score prediction. Okay, so I have the Titans winning this 37-19. I feel like the Titans have learned their lesson in the Jets game not to underestimate bad teams, and I don't think they will. I'm hoping this is a really good game for the offense because the offense really needs it to get a boost moving forward into some of these more tougher games. But yeah, that is my recap of the Titans and Saints and preview of the Titans and Texans. This has been Titans Universe, signing out. Tighten up.